Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm glad to have with me today my dear friend and our sheriff-elect here in Lawrence County. First of all, Larry, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a long, I guess, 18 months, hasn't it?
Over 18 months,
Yeah.
actually, but really hard here for the last year, and we started a little over 18 months ago, this campaign.
You have shook a lot of hands. I've been out with you. We've done commercials and shot different footage, and you always take the time, I've noticed, to pass the time of day, answer questions, and it seems like it comes natural to you.
Yes, sir. Well, my job as a game warden, communication between the public and law enforcement is a key issue in any law enforcement process. And I've always been one to build a relationship with the people, and that's the kind of sheriff I want to be with all the citizens of this county.
And Tuesday night, what did you think? What went through your mind when you finally realized that you had won the election?
Well, it's almost numbing, but then I began to look at the numbers of people that got out and voted, and we had heard it was going to be a large turnout, but when approximately 78% of the registered voters in this county vote, it was just overwhelming that people care about our country, they care about our county, and it was just overwhelming to me that so many people took an interest in this sheriff's race and in taking their right to go out and actually vote. And I just want to thank all the citizens of this county that got out and voted for me. And if a man didn't vote for me, I promise you, I'll earn your respect and I'll earn your vote next time.
Yeah. And it says a lot about our community. We're talking about 8 out of 10 people that were registered to vote voted. That's phenomenal.
Yes, sir. It's just off the chart. And I thank God that people in America got out and voted.
And one of my favorite pictures of election night was you and Javon and a lot of your supporters standing around, and y'all were praying and thanking God for this election, and I'm sure the people and other things, but that picture just stood out to me because I know your faith. We've had many conversations, and you put your faith in Jesus Christ.
Yes,
and
sir.
No man or no woman, and that's what we do. We know Jesus Christ will not let us down.
Right.
Man will let us down, but that picture stood out to me.
Yes, sir. Well, when I decided to run for sheriff, I spent a lot of hours in prayer asking God to have his hand in this, and obviously he did have his hand in it because we prevailed. There's one time there, and when I first started out, that we were sitting around my committee, and they said, "Well, have you got all your paperwork done?" And they said, "Well," I said, "Well, we got everything, but one thing." And they said, "What is it?" I said, "The money to pay the qualifying fees." And before that day was out, I had that money and some more, and we tried to manage our budget as strictly, just as best we could, but God always provided it, and it come from hundreds of citizens of this county that supported me, and I kind of felt in my heart that the Lord was in it because we never run short. We try not to waste any money, but when we had a need, he met those needs. And I tell you, the greatest scare I had of this whole election, when I run against Mr. Floyd in the primary, I had won by about 10% in the early voting. When we got to early voting, I was down about 5%. And I just walked outside and I prayed and I said, "Lord, I was hoping to be up by 10% because that's the way the whole precincts come in on the election, on the primary." And walked out there and one of my supporters said, "Larry, you just wait now." And then in certain precincts, then a couple of the first precincts come in, I'd won by almost 200 votes. And I said, "Well, the Lord's in it."
Amen.
And I was just excited. I mean, it's just, Lord had his hand in this thing all the way.
Well, you're about to go to sheriff's school. I know you're excited about that.
Yes, sir. I actually don't need but 8 hours to be a certified peace officer, but I'm sure there's a lot of information up there. When you've been out of law enforcement, it's constantly changing. I plan to sit through some classes even if I don't need them because I want to refresh myself. I want to make Lawrence County the best sheriff that I can possibly be.
One thing about you, you have supported our deputies all throughout this election. And I know you've been meeting with some of the deputies. What are you telling them?
I'm telling them to just call me, hear my heart. I think I can build a relationship with you, and I can build a relationship with the citizens. I said, you hearing, there's still rumors floating around out there. I said, people, I've given out 15,000 cards. You got my number, 278-8144. For the last 3 days now, I've had a hard time just answering the phone.
Yeah.
And I've got some texts and all, and I try to sit down at night to look at that and respond to it. But anybody that hadn't talked to me, I'm asking you, please, give me time to get settled in. Then I'll reach back out to you. We got a transition period. I need to check on my farm out there.
Yeah. Make sure it's still there.
Right. They tell me I got some cows, but I hadn't seen them, and I got a couple of guys looking after them, but nobody looks after your own business like you do. So I need to get back out there one day and just see if they're still there. And but to the citizens of this county, please reach out to me, and I will be an open door sheriff, and I'll be a people's person sheriff.
And you get a lot of calls, I know, but I can say right here on television, either Larry answers the phone or he's going to call you back. You always call me back, and I hear that everywhere. We can't always answer the phone. Like if you call right now taping this show, our phones are on a desk in another room, so you have to take time to do other things. But let's talk about Sheriff Harrell. He was a formidable opposition, and he's done a good job for 12 years serving our community. And what do you want to say about Sheriff Harrell?
Well, like I say, me and Sheriff Harrell have known each other since the 5th grade, and like I say, I wanted to run 4 years ago, but I said, well, I'll just give Sheriff Harrell 4 more years. And one reason I decided to run this year is because I'm getting on up in age, and I wanted to be healthy enough and to run. So I decided this was the year. And once I got out and prayed and I seen the support that I had in the community, I said, okay, this is time. And I made my mind up to do it with the help of, we called it Dean Team, and it worked out. Our slogan was Vote for Dean in 2016. And like I say, it was a close race. It's hard to beat an incumbent sheriff, but I want to thank Sheriff Harrell for the job that he's done in Lawrence County. And but I'll do my best to make the best sheriff that Lawrence County has had in several years.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to echo that. We do want to thank Sheriff Harrell. He served our community for 12 years. And a lot of people don't realize over the last, I guess since 1940, we've only had a handful of sheriffs in Lawrence County. So you're one of about 6 of those that served over a long, long time. And we've had some great sheriffs here in Lawrence County, and we have some great people serving us here in elected capacity. But we're going to take a quick break and come back and continue our conversation with our sheriff-elect, Larry Dean. Stay with us.
There's more than one way to get professional lawn care. Do it yourself, like this homeowner, with whatever this is. Pros use reliable, powerful Gravely equipment. This homeowner gets by with something else. Gravely delivers the high performance and quality professionals stake their reputation on. Gravely outpowers, outlasts, outperforms. Get what the pros use.
See Myers Equipment and Supply for details.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue our conversation with Larry Dean. He has just been elected this past week as Sheriff of Lawrence County, and I know you hadn't really had time, but you've had a lot of plans, and you've laid them out on TV and the newspaper, out meeting people. But what is going to be some of your top priorities when you take office January 1st?
Well, right now, some of the captains out at the Sheriff Department, I think with permission of Sheriff Harold, they're discussing some of the things about body cams that they was talking about getting. I think he's personally may have given them permission to let's pursue in the direction that they was already going when it comes to the body cams. That's one of the things that I would like to see, because it will cut out frivolous lawsuits. The cameras in the cars, I think, are 7 years old. We want to do some updates on that. I have a culture of diversified training that I'd like all the officers to get into. That'll help us to draw our community closer, and that's one of the things I want to get implemented. Like I say, I'd like to get everybody a pay raise. I promised it. We're looking at the budget, and I think with the figures that's out there, if we hadn't misfigured, I can go in the door giving the men and women a raise.
Good.
I may have to do away with some top positions, but what I like for the citizens of this county, and especially the deputies, there's rumors floating around out there that, you know, that I'm gone, and I'm gone, and I'm gone. If a man's out there doing his job, basically, I don't foresee a big change in the personnel. We may have to change the directions that we're going in, but especially the men that's on down in ranks, that's below captains, don't have any problem. I understand they're doing a good job. I know there's a lot of stress on people during election years, but I just want to reach out to those deputies especially. Call me. When you hear it from the horse's mouth, when I tell you something, I'll stand by it. So you want to quell these rumors, give me a call. I'll be in sheriff's school, but I'll still have my phone with me. If I can get back with you, I'll get back with you as soon as possible.
What about, it was talked about during the election, a lot of people talk about in the community, but all the different sheriff cars and the not knowing whether you're being pulled over by law enforcement or not. And I know that's difficult to handle in a quick way, but what's your thinking on that?
Well, I would like to have more of our cars marked the same way when a sheriff car in a neighborhood or in the parking lot out there, if they know the presence of the law is there, does make a difference. Now, I would discuss that a little bit with some of the men, and they're telling me there is an advantage of working in an area or doing a certain amount of surveillance with the different color cars. So, like I say, I'm open for suggestions. Basically, I'd like to just get out there in January, put a couple key people in position, and sit back and observe and really learn the workings of this department. I'm sure when I get up to sheriff's school up there, there'll be some men and women up there in law enforcement that's been in law enforcement. I'll be trying to bring some ideas back from them, but mainly I just want to earn the respect of the citizens and the deputies in this county. If I can earn their respect, they'll do me a good job and make me look good as the sheriff.
And I know that'll be difficult knowing you because you're hands-on.
Right.
So standing back, and of course you got to learn and listen. That's all part of it. But I know by listening to you in the past, you're going to be involved in major cases.
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, I've already, over a year ago, I got me a law book just doing with the general things that the deputy sheriff is involved in every day. And just like my DNR law book, if you know the law and apply common sense to it, we can make it work. And to me, I'll be as knowledgeable about all the laws that I can be just as quick as possible.
And before we go, your wife was a big part of your campaign. She was always by your side, supported you, and did without you a lot because you've been out a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. But I know you want to say something about your beautiful wife.
Well, I want to thank her for standing by me. She told me when I first started running for sheriff, she said, you know, when you was a game warden, you had 25 phone calls a night when you come in. Well, naturally, I try to call these people back, and you would get only half of them. And then the next night you'd have any more. I said, well, baby, maybe I'll have a secretary to at least help me keep some of these things in line. But she promised me that she was not going to be my secretary. And I said, well, I think we'll have one. So,
yeah.
But so help me. There's it's been overwhelming with just people calling to congratulate me, and I appreciate that. And there's some people out there right now that's saying, well, Larry, you hadn't been in there 2 days now. You're not even the sheriff. You just elect, and you hadn't gotten back with me. Just give me a few time. I'm still Larry Dean, and I'll be Larry Dean as long as I'm sheriff of this county. I want to remain true to my core values, trust, fairness, and professionalism, and that's what I want to bring to the Lawrence County Sheriff Department.
That's right. But you've brought on a lot of responsibility, so
yes, sir.
It's going to be harder and harder to answer all those calls. So you got to have help. And
you got to have. We got good men and women out there,
That's
and
right.
I made a couple choices of who I want to be the men under me, but basically I want to just put them in a leadership position. Them make some of the decisions because they're already there. We got to function January the 1st. We got to take the office.
Yeah.
So they've been running it. And I'm going to let them continue to run it till I get out there, and we'll make the right changes. But we're going to seek the Lord in decision-making. Right here on this earth, we don't have the knowledge. I don't care how much school or how much education you got. you got to reach out to the Lord and ask Him to give you the right wisdom and discernment to how to make the proper decisions, and that's the way I'm going to make it.
Yep. That's a good way to end. Well, once again, congratulations, Larry. We're proud of you and look forward to you taking office January 1st. And we'll be there with you at the swearing in. So, and I want to echo what Larry said. We do want to thank the men and women of the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office. We have a wonderful department out there. Also, the Dublin Police and East Dublin Police, our Georgia State Patrol. We're very fortunate to live in a community that we live in and growing up here like we did. And it's just a wonderful community. Even this week, you probably saw that CBS Network was in town and interviewed some of our citizens, and it was just great to see these people on the network news just explaining our way of life here in Dublin. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or never voted or vote every time, we appreciate you joining us today. And Larry Dean, as you've heard today, will be that sheriff, won't you?
Yes, sir. And I want to thank the citizens of Lawrence County once again. If you didn't vote for me, I'll earn your respect, and I'll earn your vote between now and the next 4 years.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. And thank you so much for joining us today.